Hi, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about getting your web server space all set up for your demo environment for your preview. And we're going to be working mostly within your hosting account. So for me, my hosting account is 1&1, and I'm just going to walk through the steps here to show you how to get everything all set up. But first things first, before you do anything, make sure that you have a folder created on your computer to put all of your files for your web server. So this is where all the files are going to go for your website. So I typically create a folder called www, and I created an empty folder in here called demo. So we're going to put everything in here, and this is the folder that we're going to be working in to take files and toss them onto the server. All right. Within your host, the first thing we have to do is create a subdomain. So this subdomain is going to be where your demo website's going to be for your preview. And to do that within 1&1, it's under Manage Domains. Depending on what host you have, it might be a little bit different. There might be a link there that says Create Subdomain. But for me, it's under Manage Domains. And I've already got mine set up, but I'll walk you through how to do it. So under Manage Domains, we're going to want to choose which domain we want to create the subdomain under. I have a lot of different domains in here. You might only have one. But for mine, I typically put my subdomains under yourpreviewtoday.com. And I've already created one called demo. But to create a subdomain, you simply click the Create Subdomain button and then type in what you'd like your subdomain to be called. So for me, I created one called demo. After you create your subdomain, the next thing that you have to do is assign a folder to that subdomain. That way, anything that's under the preview website is going to be in that folder only. It's not going to go live yet. It's going to be in a preview folder. If it was live, it wouldn't be in a folder. It would just be out in the root. And I'll talk more about that later. But to assign a folder to your subdomain, you have to go under Manage Subdomains. And in there, I'm going to find the demo that we created, and I'll modify that. And this is where you would assign the destination. So I've already assigned a destination. I've put a folder in there called demo, and I'm actually going to modify this real quick because I want it to just be under a folder called demo, not previews demo. So I'm going to just click on demo. So I've already created this. So just to show you can create a folder, just choose create directory. And you can open and close folders by this little button right here on the side. Okay, so I've chosen demo, and I'm just going to save those changes and continue. So now anything that I add via FTP when I connect, it's going to go in that particular folder. So it still says previews. Let me just make sure that that is where I want it to be. Demo. Okay, we're good. Okay, so now what I want to do next is create an FTP login. So your FTP login is what you're going to use to connect to your FileZilla program. This is what connects to your server, where you can take the files in that folder you created on your computer, your www folder, and that's where you take your files from your computer to put them onto your server, your website files. So what I'll do now is create an FTP login. We do that under FTP account. So within your host, and like I said, it might be different depending on what host you have, but just look for FTP account because that's where you're going to create a new username and password. And I've already created mine. I called it demo. So just make sure that when you create your new username and password, just make sure that you assign it the proper directory. In this case, it was demo. So it's not showing a list of all the folders that are in there, but it will for you. Just choose demo, create a username and password, and remember, if there's letters or numbers here, that's going to be your entire username here to whatever you put for the rest of your username. So that's your username and your password, and it'll connect right to that folder. So I've already got mine set up, so what I want to do next is just test my connection and make sure that it works. So I'll show you in FileZilla how to get a new connection all set up. So when you open up FileZilla, just to show you, this folder here, or this space right here, is the folders on your computer. When you connect, this is what's on your server over here. So I'm not connected to anything right now, so it's not showing anything. To create a new connection, you come here and you want to open your site manager. And in here, I'm going to create a brand new site. I have a bunch in here. And if you're first starting out, you don't have any yet, you shouldn't have anything in here. It'll be empty. But I would create a brand new one. And I'm going to call it preview, because you can call this anything you want. So I'll call it preview. And then this is where you put in your subdomain information. So you don't need to put www or anything like that. So I just put demo.yourpreviewtoday.com. And next thing you want is to make sure it says use plain FTP. Protocol is FTP, so these two should look just like that. Login type is going to be normal. And this is where you put in the username and password. Dash. And I called mine demo. All right, and there's my password. And let me just connect just to make sure that it does connect. And it does. So, and I put in a test folder in here earlier just to make sure that it worked, which it did. So I'll take that out of there. So you should see nothing in here. It should look just like this. But if it says successful, then you're connected. So if you see this, that means that you're good and you're connected. So what you need to also do is underneath that connection that we created, go to this advanced tab up here, because this is where you're going to tell FileZilla where the files on your computer are that you're going to use to upload. So I'm just going to choose browse, and I'm going to find that folder that I created under www right here and demo. So you're just going to navigate on your computer to that folder that you created. So now it's going to talk to that folder. So watch this. If I choose connect, and I'm going to abort that previous connection and create a brand new one, so I'm going to say OK. So now when it connects, now it's in my demo folder. See this path right here? It says demo. And now over here, you're connected to your subdomain, and there's nothing in it. All right, so that's that. We've got our FTP created. We have our subdomain created. The next step is we have to create a database, because with WordPress websites, they require a database. This is where it gets a little fun, a little bit tricky too, but it's fun. If you're kind of geeky like me, this is going to be a fun part. Back in your host. So you're going to want to create a database. To do that, we're going to come down. Let me see if I can find where it is in here. All right, MySQL database. So under Manage Web Space and My Host is where I'm going to see MySQL databases. So I'm going to want to go in there to create a brand new database. So once I come in here, and when you create your database, I'm going to show you how to make sure that you copy out your information. So you're going to create a username and password for it. You got to make sure that you save those, because later on you're going to take that information to tell WordPress how to connect to it. So when you're first starting out, you probably won't have any databases in here. I have quite a few clients, so I have a lot of databases in here, but you most likely won't see anything in here. So all you do is choose New Database, and then from here, you'll put in a username and password for your brand new database. Going a bit slow, but that's where it is. All right, here we go. So I'm going to call this demo, and then I'll create my password, and then password again, and then I'm going to set this up. And it tells you what the version of the database is right there too, in case you need that later. It's MySQL 5.1. So just in case you need that and you need to know what version your database is, it's right there. So once this is all set up, I'm just going to make sure I copy down all the credentials for that. And let me see, I'll do Word document here. I'll just grab this, create a new document, database for preview. And what I usually do when I save all my information for my passwords and stuff, I'll save as, and I'll go to that demo folder And I always create a Word document and I call it info. This is where I keep stuff, just for now, for my passwords and my logins and stuff like that, so I know what that info is. So here it is. I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put that in here. And then do my password so I know what the password is. Alright, so I'm just going to save that and I'm going to minimize that for now so I have it for later. So I have my database set up. It's that easy. It's set up. It's good to go. We don't have to do anything else with the database except for connect to it. So the database is good. Alright, we've created our subdomain. We've created our FTP login. We've connected to the host. Created our database. We have all of our credentials for the database. Alright. Now it's important to know that if you don't have a host package set up, that if you have to create a new host package, just make sure that it's a Linux host package that supports PHP and MySQL, because WordPress needs PHP and it needs a MySQL database. So if you need to create yourself a host package, just make sure it's Linux and you can create a database and you'll be good to go. I'm going to add a link to my host 1-in-1 so that way if you need to create a host package, that link will be right there in resources and you can create your own host package. Alright, stay tuned for the next video when I talk about installing WordPress. Then we're actually going to create a website. Now it gets even more fun. Alright guys, talk to you soon.